Hello, 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 and welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in to HSI Canada's live stream today. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Chef Amy Symington. I am a plant-based chef, a plant and animal lover, a cookbook author, and a nutrition professor and researcher here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. But I'm also the culinary specialist for HSI Canada, which is why you're tuning in today. So I'm part of their amazing Forward Food team, which is a program that helps to support large food operations across Canada incorporate more tasty, sustainable, and compassionate meals on their menus. And we do this through culinary demonstrations, recipe and menu development, educational workshops, and the best part about our services is that they're all free. So with that said, today we have a very exciting guest coming. So we're joined by the extraordinarily talented, smart, utterly delightful Sam Turnbull from It Doesn't Taste Like Chicken. So she is, and I'll just, there she is.
Hi. You're so kind.
Welcome. I'm going to go down your very, very lengthy biography here.
Okay, thank you.
And lovely. So she is if you don't know her, which you probably do, she's a recipe developer, social media influencer, photographer, cooking instructor, and she runs her own cooking courses and is a cookbook author of 3 best-selling cookbooks, one of which is just coming out that we're going to talk about, and I can't wait. And she's just an all-around wonderful human being. So yeah, her work focuses on plant-based diets and providing the masses with delicious and beyond easy vegan recipes. So I've known Sam for a few years, and we worked on a few fun collaborations together, including a fashion show for our animal farm sanctuary and a docu-series called Eating Plants Canada. So a huge and heartfelt welcome to my friend Sam. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Yay, thank you for having me. I'm doing great. It's a lovely sunny day. Happy to be here.
Yay. Oh, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with us a little bit. So I'll just dive right in to the hard-hitting questions that I have for you.
Okay.
And it will be a little bit cash, so if there are people that are tuning in and have questions, we can answer those. So if you have questions for Sam, put them in the comment section and we'll get to those. But if there aren't, we'll just carry on. I have a bunch of questions. As I said, they're hard-hitting, so
oh no, I'll be scared.
So yeah, starting off. So I've been plant-based for almost 2 decades.
Wow.
And it was for a variety of reasons. I call it the Holy Trinity: the environment, animals, and health. And I've mentioned this before in previous interviews, but the book, The Way We Eat, Why Our Food Choices Matter by Peter Singer and Jim Mason kind of like shoved me in the right direction at the right time of my life. And so you have such a rich and experienced background, educationally and otherwise, particularly in the arts. So can you tell us a little bit about your background, your journey to plant-based foods, and how you first learned about the importance of eating and promoting plants?
Sure. So my background, I actually have my master's of fine arts, so not food related at all, really, but a creative person. And I was working as an art director about the time I went vegan, and that was almost 11 years ago now.
Wow.
But I grew up on a farm. It was not an animal farm, it was a tree farm, but we did have chickens and ducks and things that we raised for food and eggs, which is sad. But I was never someone who thought I'd be vegan. I was never vegetarian. I never was pescatarian. I never cut anything out of my diet. I'm like, why would I want to do that? I love food. But then one day I decided that I was feeling kind of unhealthy, and I was like, okay, I need just some inspiration to be a little bit healthier. So I watched what I thought was a documentary about vegetables, because we all know vegetables are healthy, but it was called Vegucated, and it was actually about people going vegan. And that completely changed my mindset. I'd always thought of myself as an animal lover, and I realized that if I wanted to live my life according to my own values, my values of animals, then I needed to change what I was doing, and so that they aligned. So then I started my vegan journey. I went vegan overnight. It was terrible at first, yeah. It was awful. I had no idea how to be vegan.
Oh, cold tofu. You went cold tofu?
I did. I was starving. All I ate was spaghetti and tomato sauce. I had no idea how to do it. And then I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to be vegan, which I was determined to be, I have to figure out how this is going to work for me, because I was always a food lover, and the spaghetti wasn't going to cut it for me. So I started experimenting in the kitchen, and I soon learned that with a little creativity and inspiration, I could develop my own recipes that tasted just as good, if not better, than the original recipes. And I started sharing them online on my blog, It Doesn't Taste Like Chicken. And people from all over the world started loving them. And that's how I fell absolutely in love with recipe writing.
That's amazing. I love that so much. It's so
Thank
great.
you.
Little tidbits. I've known you for a while, but I just learned some new stuff there. That's awesome. Okay, so you are an absolute vegan phenomenon, and have a massive following. These are just facts. And so you have a massive following on all the social media platforms. So can you tell us a little bit about you as a plant-based recipe developer, content creator, and like where you get your inspiration from, and how you make vegan cooking so easy? Because your recipes are so easy. Like as a chef, like, that's it. Okay. And then I do it, and I'm like, this is amazing. Like I've had many, many things of yours, but and this is going to sound so simple, but Sam has the best vegan chili recipe. It's like won awards against other chilies. Like, so how do you do it? Where's your inspiration from? How do you make it so easy?
Thank you. I'm getting all excited. I'm like, where do I start? I have so many things I want to say. So what I did originally, and still pretty much do, is take my inspiration from non-vegan recipes. So because I'm not someone, as I said, who was even vegetarian. So when I desire food, when I have cravings for food, it's often based on the things I grew up eating. And so those were things that were meaty and cheesy and all of those kinds of flavors. And so I take inspiration from those, and I just try to play around in the kitchen until I can make something that kind of has the same satisfaction. So the same kind of textures and chews and flavors. And, flavors are not exclusive to animal products. You can get all those same textures and flavors in plant-based foods as well. You just have to be a little bit more creative. And I guess my creative background really plays in there, because I have a lot of fun experimenting, and I'm not afraid to break culinary rules and go against what you're supposed to do. And I just have a lot of fun. And then, I'm someone also who, when I get hungry, it's like I'm already hungry and I need dinner in like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I'm very bad at planning ahead sometimes. Although I try to be good at it. And so a lot of my recipes are easy, because I know that if I don't have the energy or time to cook, and when I dedicate my life to it as well, I can only imagine people coming home from work, or, their busy days of school or whatever they're doing, that they need recipes that are just easy. I don't want to make veganism complicated for people. My goal is to make it delicious and easy and fun. And so, I really work hard to try to simplify my recipes as much as possible while keeping all of the flavors and textures there.
Amazing. And you do an amazing job and make things so approachable. Like, anytime I'm anywhere, like I have my own recipes, obviously, but
yeah, they're amazing.
Sometimes when I'm out and I'm doing lectures or talking, and then people will ask specifically about something, like a very specific food that's not vegan, that they want to veganize. I'm like, oh, check out, and I'm like, Sam Turnbull, like, and then you always have something, like you have a recipe for everything, which is amazing. And as you said, they're super easy, and I think you've nailed it.
Oh,
so
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so you are one of the vegan social media OGs, and have been part of the plant-based movement for a long time. The movement that has seen and done many things, from the infamous stuffed pepper to the pasta primavera that we were stuck with like decades ago, to having vegan options for every and all types of cuisines, dishes, and food trends, like worldwide. So anything can be made vegan now, and it's amazing. With that said, in your expert opinion, because you focus on food and not just plant-based food, where do you see plant-based cuisine going in the next few years? And do you think we'll continue to see this uprise in interest that we've seen in the last 5 years?
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to continue in a good direction. When I went vegan about 11 years ago, people didn't even know what the word vegan meant. They didn't know how to pronounce it. They said vegan. You go to a restaurant, you'd be like, oh, do you have any vegan options? And they'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. We have fish.
Yeah.
Whereas now, even if they don't have an option, they know exactly what it means. And then they usually go, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have anything, or we can do this for you. But even more so, most places have clearly labeled options, which is amazing. And there's tons of restaurants here in Toronto and in different parts of the world, of course, as well, that are fully vegan. So it's definitely growing really, really quickly. And probably actually really slowly, because it didn't originate in like 1920 or something, but now it's growing quickly. But yeah, I mean, I think in the like very far future, I predict that veganism or eating animal products, eating meat and stuff will be kind of looked at the way that cigarettes are looked at now. It'll be something that some people do, but people will be kind of think it's kind of gross and dirty. That's my prediction. I don't think it's going to happen in 5 years, but I think that will happen in the future, maybe in like 20, 30, 50 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be this kind of like dirty thing that a lot of people do. But in the next few years, I think it'll just continue to grow. I mean, the studies and the science behind it are undeniable. It is better for you. It's better for the planet. And of course, you can't really argue the fact that you're saving animals' lives. And I think a lot of people think of themselves as animal lovers, and they just have to make the connection, and all of a sudden they'll realize. Yeah. And that's what we do. We provide options for them so that they don't have to miss out on their favorite foods.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah. It's win people over with their stomachs is my approach too. I love that. That's awesome.
Amazing.
Okay. And so we've previously chatted about this, but can you share, like on that note, so say someone's starting out, because there's lots of new vegans out there. So can you share with our viewers some of your, hot tips, like maybe one or two, for transitioning to a plant-based diet instead of, you'd said you'd gone cold tofu, so to speak, overnight. It was terrible. What are some things that they can do?
I did. Well, for me, it worked to go cold turkey because I'm kind of all in or not person, but that doesn't mean that everyone has to do it that way. If you want to do it more gradually and that works for you, for sure, do it that way, whatever works for you. But my number one tip for me would be when I first went vegan, first I did spaghetti, and then I started researching all of the recipes that were popular at the time as far as vegan food goes. And that was mainly very, very health focused. So it's things like smoothies and grain bowls and energy balls, and all of that could be great, but those weren't the foods that I was used to eating. And so I just didn't feel fully satisfied. So instead of trying to make vegan dishes or enjoy vegan dishes that are so far from what you're used to enjoying, I would recommend instead looking at what you already eat. If you eat pancakes for breakfast and a sandwich for lunch and pasta or pizza for dinner, do those same things, but just find the vegan versions of them. And I think that'll be a lot easier.
Yeah, I love that. That's great advice. Yeah, I was same too. Like I love the stodgy, stick to your ribs, satiating type foods, the pot pies, the shepherd's pies. And I always joke that you don't make friends with salad, but I do eat salads and I love them too. But that's, yeah.
Me too.
Really great, approachable advice. Like, it doesn't have to be rocket science, right?
Yeah, you don't have to go crazy in a completely different direction. It's just like if you're to start working out, you don't need to go from sitting on the couch all day to doing like bodybuilding competing. That'd be crazy. Just start by like walking more, just take easy steps and it'll be a lot easier.
I love that. And basic easy swaps and we live in a day and age where there's alternatives for everything now. So
yeah, absolutely. And whether you buy the plant-based meat alternatives, that can be easy, or I actually don't use any of that stuff in my recipes. So if you prefer to use vegetables and grains and kind of things that are a little bit more familiar to you, you can still get all those same textures and flavors.
Yeah, 100%. I always think of my dad in the grocery store in like small town Ontario. I think I told you I also grew up on a farm. And so I just picture him in the grocery store, like looking for the ingredients for one of my recipes. So I try to make it as approachable as possible. And so I know that you do that as well.
Yeah. You don't have to go to the health food store for every single recipe. That's too annoying.
Start sprouting your own sprouts, or like, you know what I mean? You don't have to do all that. You can, that's fun, but you don't have to. Yeah.
No, make it easy.
So, this is the part that I have been waiting for.
Oh.
Let's talk about your very unique and amazing new cookbook. Create Vegan, 101 recipes to satisfy your appetite the plant-based way. Woo!
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Cookbooks are hard. And so, just tell us more about this beauty and, the work behind it, the inspiration behind it. I can't wait to get my copy, and they're coming out soon.
Yes, it's getting released on October 24th, so it's very exciting, but you can already order it now, so you can pre-order your copy, which is great. But it is, basically when I wrote this book, I just wanted to address the fact that, I do crave things like meaty flavors, cheesy flavors, creamy flavors, because I grew up eating that. And so actually, it was the inspiration from the book kind of came on an interview like this, where I was with a few other influencers, and the host asked, when you think of comfort food, what does that mean to you? And the first two influencers said something similar. They said it's like home cooked meals, that kind of thing, which I agreed with. But for me, when I actually think of comfort food, I often think of either the flavor or the texture. So this book is specifically designed to satisfy your cravings via those. So instead of having typical chapters like salads and soups, the chapters are eggy, carby, creamy, cheesy, meaty, spicy, crunchy, chocolatey, and sugary.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. It's brilliant.
Yeah, so there's all 101 recipes designed specifically to satisfy all of your various cravings. So it's really fun.
That's amazing. Okay, so I have to ask you, because you know this question's coming. What are some of your favorites? I know, like, they're all, part of your book, baby. But what are some of your favorites?
From the book, oh my goodness! I mean, the cheesy section. I love my ooey gooey fondue. I call it. It's amazing. Yeah, from the meaty section, I have a rack of ribs, which is amazing. I've given it to meat eaters, and it blew their mind. I've also have a pate recipe, which I've given to meat eaters and to professional chefs who are not vegan, and they were completely blown away. They're like, this is real, like, animal product pate. And I'm like, no, man, it's not. So that's really great. I have all sorts of really delicious carby recipes. I've actually just shared today my new recipe for my spaghetti bake, which is really fun because you throw your pasta uncooked into a baking pan along with the sauces and different flavors, and it actually bakes in the oven, and it gets really, like, delicious and luscious, and it has a little Alfredo sauce on top. So easy to make and so delish. Yeah, the recipes go on and on.
Amazing. I can't wait to try them. Okay. So where can we find your book?
So you can get it anywhere. It's available worldwide. So of course, the retailers such as Amazon, or if you're in the US, Barnes & Noble. If you're Canada, Indigo, it's available. And if you are going to order it, I highly recommend pre-ordering it before October 24th, because if you do, you get $167 worth of free gifts from me. All you have to do is go to my site, itdoesn'ttastelikechicken.com, and you'll be able to claim your free bonuses, and we'll just email them over to you.
What a good deal.
Well, I don't know if most people know this, but pre-orders are so important to authors. They really can make or break the release of a book. So that's why we always push so hard for them. And of course, there's a benefit for you as well, because you get all the free gifts, which you won't get after the book is out.
So many free gifts, and it's a bestseller already, and it hasn't even come out.
Yeah.
Crazy. Amazing. Congratulations. I can't wait to get my hands on it. Okay. So I have one final hard-hitting question for you.
Okay.
If you could provide one piece of advice for aspiring vegans out there just getting started, what would it be?
One piece of advice. Well, I think just keeping it simple, like I was saying, don't think outside the tofu. Just to get going. And I think a lot of people think of veganism or plant-based, so you have to be absolutely perfect. And I think that's a really unfair goal. We live in an animal product world. There's animal products everywhere. Like, there's animal products in the tires of your car. If you take an Uber, you might be sitting on a leather seat. If you go to the movies, if they might have gelatin in the film. And so, like, just don't worry about that stuff. If being vegan is not about being perfect, it's just about doing the best that you can. And so even if you have something and you realize that it has an animal product in it afterwards, don't beat yourself up. It happens. It even happens to me sometimes still. So just move forward and know that you're doing the best you can, and that's all that matters.
I love that. That is an amazing point to end on. So thank you so much again for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to talk to us today. It's always lovely chatting with you, but it was an absolute utter treat to actually get to interview you on HSI Canada and the Forward Food team. Thank you so much for all the amazing work that you do to make our world tastier, more sustainable, and more compassionate. So with that said, yeah, thank you so much. And thank you to those tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for having me. This was an absolute blast and so wonderful to see you again.
Okay.
Thank you everyone for watching. I just hit myself in the face.
Bye.